Hey you guys, Jerry here. We are going to talk this afternoon about suppression, whether that is suppression of free speech, whether that is suppression of freedom of expression, either of those. And so for my purposes, I'm going to focus specifically on cancel culture, which is relatively a relatively new term for me. So we're going to talk about that this afternoon, and we are just going to dig kind of deep into it. So cancel culture is something that's, like I said, pretty new. And what does cancel culture even mean? Cancel culture is where we block somebody from having a prominent public platform or career. And it's a celebrity or other public figure who does or says something that's offensive. A public backlash is often fueled by politically progressive social media. Then comes calls to cancel that person, to effectively end their career and revoke their cultural cachet, whether through boycotts of their work or disciplinary action from an employer. The first person we're going to look at is Alison Roman. She is a food critic, and she was placed on a temporary hiatus from the New York Times after following a controversial social media argument she had with Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy Teigen is famous as well, so they had kind of a little social media war going for a moment. Andrew Sullivan is a writer and a blogger, and he is quoted as saying, "A critical mass of the staff and management of New York Magazine and Vox Media no longer want to associate with me. They seem to believe, and this is increasingly the orthodoxy in mainstream media, that any writer not actively committed to critical theory and questions of race, gender, sexual orientation, and gender identity is actively physically harming coworkers merely by existing in the same virtual space." And then there's J.K. Rowling. Many of you know who she is. She was the author of all the Harry Potter books, and she faced intense criticism from her fans after she voiced some transphobic beliefs. And then finally, we're going to take a look at Major Andrew Calvert. He's the U.S. Army chaplain who officials are now investigating, and he's in Texas. He's a Texas Army chaplain, and he suggested in a social media post that transgender soldiers were mentally unfit and unqualified to serve. And this came after President Biden signed some orders that said he reversed what President Donald Trump had done. And so the new directive immediately prohibits involuntary separations, discharges, and denials of reenlistment or continuation of service on the basis of gender identity. And so then Major Calvert actually, he went on a post and said that what I said, he said they were mentally unfit or unqualified to serve. And so instead of him actually having freedom of speech on that, people really called for his job, and now it's being investigated. So what is cancel culture all about? Because all of these people have different viewpoints and different worldviews. Some of them are conservative, some of them are liberal, some of them are straight, some of them are gay. And so we can't say that they're one or the other, and that's why. But cancel culture is about free speech, or is it about more? Cancel culture is an important tool of social justice, and it's a new, or some people say it's a new form of mob intimidation. It is a collective way of saying we elevated your social status and your economic prowess, and now we're not going to pay attention to you in the way that we once did. You may have power, but the power I have is to ignore you. The view that a traditional approach, such as an apology, an atonement, or forgiveness, it's no longer, they're saying, hey, that's no longer enough for us. We want more. We want to kind of turn our back on you. And so it's saying those who think of cancel culture as an extension of civil rights, and it pushes for meaningful change. It is an important tool, and it is, whether you agree with it or not, all articles say that it is here to stay. Only time will tell.